Hello, my fellow YouTubers and subscribers, and welcome to this live stream where today we go into a discussion that everyone is having at the moment. What is the future of the James Bond film franchise after No Time to Die? Yeah, this is a discussion that quite a few Bond fans have been having, obviously outside of YouTube, but also on YouTube. There have been some Bond YouTubers who have given their thoughts about the future of the franchise. Now that Daniel Craig is out and the role of James Bond is reopened to recasting. So yeah, this is just going to be like a general live discussion. So with you guys who will be in the live chat, hopefully there'll be a few of you. And we'll just kind of go back and forth really and discuss what we would like to see in Bond 26, where we think the franchise could go next, and my opinions about this as well. So yeah, it's just a general discussion. Like nothing as such post No Time to Die has actually been confirmed. The film is still playing in cinemas, and it's due for release on DVD and Blu-ray in December the 20th, just before Christmas, which is quite soon. But hey, I'm not complaining. After all the delays with this movie, I am not complaining. So, good evening, guys, in the live chat. Thank you for joining. So, if you haven't seen No Time to Die, there will be spoilers for that movie in this video. So, click away and come back later. But if you have seen the movie or you just don't give a shit about spoilers, then go ahead. So, where to begin? No Time to Die. Daniel Craig's last movie, his fifth movie, just came out. It's been delayed for so long, and we finally got the movie, and he's been sent off. And at the end of the movie, spoiler alerts, James Bond was killed. Yeah, he was blown up by the missiles because James Bond had been infected with the Heracles virus. And because it's all DNA coded with nanobots, it was coded to the DNA of Madeline and also their daughter, Mathilde. Yes, James Bond was a daddy in the last film. And obviously, he couldn't live, his life without actually touching them. And that would have been horrible. He would never have been able to live with that, not being able to be with his family. So, yeah, and also he was injured. Lucifer Safin, the villain, had shot him as well. So he was already kind of weak. And, in the end, he chose to let the missiles blow him up. But in the process, saving the world and destroying the poison garden and the island where Heracles was produced. So, a bit of a controversial ending. The first time they've ever killed James Bond in the film series. But like I said, I made this no secret in my review and in my spoiler review that I was okay with this. I wasn't at first. When I first heard rumors about them killing James Bond, I thought, I just don't know if this is going to work. I just think it would set too many people on edge, and it's just risky. And it was a risk, but I'm actually glad they took the risk because on reflection, I'm thinking about Daniel Craig's era. It's actually very self-contained. The 5 movies that we have, Casino Royale, Quantum of Solace, Skyfall, Spectre, and No Time to Die, they form almost a little mini-series in themselves, and they're one timeline. So the fact that Bond dies at the end of that journey doesn't really make a difference to the next film. The next film will have nothing to do with the Daniel Craig era. So I feel like, okay, this works, And I was actually very moved by the ending in No Time to Die. I've seen the film a few times now, and every time the film has actually moved me more and more. To the point where I've even shed a tear or two, and I'm not even joking. And the end where Madeline and Mathilde drive off, and she says, "I'm going to tell you the story about a man. His name is Bond, James Bond." I like that. But okay, as for the future, where do we go from here? The film does say at the end in the credits, James Bond will return. Obviously, we know it's just going to be Bond with a different face. So yeah, Daniel Craig's era is over. So where do I think this could go? I don't think they're going to change the setting. I think it's going to stay as a contemporary setting, and I truly believe that that will be the norm. I know people have speculated for a while about them going back to like a period set Bond movie, and I mean, okay, maybe they'll try it, but I think it's kind of unlikely given the fact there's a limit to what they could do with the stories. And in this day and age, the current affairs of this world are probably going to be more worth highlighting than affairs of the old, times. And we've also had, quite a number of Bond films of the old time, like in Sean Connery, Roger Moore, Timothy Dalton. So in each decade since the 60s, we've had a good substantial amount of films in which have reflected the era of the time. Reflected the time period. So I don't think there's a need to go back to the 60s, personally. I think set it in modern day is my opinion. Yeah, I agree. Cusack Studios, an unknown actor for Bond would be good, but I disagree about the setting. I think it should just be set in the modern day as it is. There can definitely be nods to the 60s and 50s. Oh yeah, absolutely. I loved and appreciated all the nods to the old films in the Craig era across all his films, mainly in the last few. But yeah, still. Yeah, I think there's a potential they might stick to sort of a similar vibe of Craig's era. It depends on the actor, really. If the actor wants to take it down an emotional route, whether we'll get something more fantastical and outlandish. I mean, No Time to Die is probably the furthest the Craig era has ever gone to feeling like a classic Bond film in terms of the humor, in terms of the scale of it. And I mean, the Navy were in it. So, it certainly felt like it was trying to cater for all. It was trying to be modern, progressive with the women's roles, and it was trying to be emotional. It was trying to be an ending. It was trying to be different by introducing the daughter, and it was trying to be different with the virus plot, and it was also including the Navy. So, and it was trying to introduce tension with Bond and M, and there were so many things that No Time to Die was trying to do to separate itself, but also feel familiar. So, the next film is going to really be a reinvention. I don't know if it's going to be. I really don't know if it's going to be quite like Casino Royale, but potentially they could go for a younger Bond. Maybe they'll develop some of the young Bond novels. I know they're not written by Fleming, but they could maybe delve into a younger Bond. I'm not saying like teenage or anything, but maybe like early 30s, maybe. It depends on what they want to do. Quite honestly, I think the first film of the new guy should be a sort of back to basics, a bit more fantastical adventure, give him a mission, send him on his way. And it just for us to get a chance to know the guy. And if they want to create a story arc like Daniel Craig's era across a number of films, then they can do that and plan that later on. But I think a first film just to set up him as the new Bond, whoever he may be, and to kind of establish the new tone of the series and what this particular tenure is going to look like, or at least from the offset. But that's just my opinion. Yeah, and yeah, I think the Bond girls, the Bond women the roles are gonna be very similar to how they were in No Time to Die. I'd be very surprised if they go back to the objectification of the women where he just sleeps with them all. I mean, they might still do that. They might still have him sleep with a few of them, but I reckon they're still going to get more action-based roles. Like, and I appreciated the fact that, they were given action roles, but they weren't always, characters who were like Mary Sue's, like Nomi. She's a bit of a know-it-all. She's a bit cocky. She doesn't know everything, but she thinks she does. And Paloma is just a rookie. She's nervous. She's kind of jittery. She's not. I mean, when she's working, she kicks ass. But to begin with, she's bloody nervous. And even Moneypenny's a fairly flawed character, and so is Madeline. They're not made out to be perfect, and that's what I like about the women's roles in No Time to Die. And I think if they write the women like that in the future, then that will be fine. And if Phoebe Waller-Bridge can come back, then that will be a great asset to them. Yeah, maybe a Bond girl could kill the villain in the future, or certainly have involved. Well, they did that in No Time to Die. Nomi kills Valdo Obruchev, which she says, "Do you know what time it is? Time to Die. Love that. Oh, that's a good question. Oh God, I love both, but I might go for Billie Eilish's No Time to Die, actually, Harry. I think that's a really emotional song, but All the Time in the World, I really do love that as well. That's a classic. That's such a brilliant song, and rest in peace, Louis Armstrong. Oh yeah, sorry, Cusack Studios. I will reply to your messages at some point. I've just been busy over the last few days, but yeah, I take it you hated the ending, as most people did. Oh, hello, the one. Martin Campbell. Yeah, that's another point. Will Martin Campbell direct the next film? That's a good point, because he's introduced Brosnan and Craig into the series. So, but then they say third time's a charm. Will the third time be harder for him? Because how do you reestablish the tone again? I mean, it was kind of with Brosnan, I think they went sort of back to the sort of formula of the old films a bit, kept a bit of seriousness with the sort of like the Cold War and everything. But then with Craig, it was very much defined as a tougher, grittier Bond. So what would they do? That's the thing. It's like the first decision is to find a tone for Bond 26 and the new actor. You know, it's going to be an amalgamation of many things, and wherever Barbara and Michael want to take the series as well, because Daniel Craig did quite a lot in terms of redefining the tone of the Bond movies for the because things that worked in the 60s and 70s and 80s and 90s probably don't work in the 2020s or the 2010s. You know, it's every decade is different, and that's the hard thing about keeping these movies alive. I don't know who I want to play the next Bond, but I agree. I want somebody unknown. I think all of these people that have been shortlisted, so to speak, you know, all of those articles, I think, are just clickbait. Honestly, it's just to get people talking. Idris Elba won't do it. He's not going to do it. He's too old to do it. I don't even think Tom Hardy's going to do it. I honestly believe somebody who is, well, if not unknown, lesser known than some people. Of all the people that have been suggested, I mean, that Regé Jean Page guy, he might be the contender. Richard Madden is the guy that I would probably trust with it, you know, who's well known. But again, I would prefer somebody unknown who could grow into the role, like Craig. Craig was relatively unknown before he played James Bond. I mean, he was in Layer Cake and Tomb Raider and Munich and Road to Perdition, like a few films, but he didn't become properly international until James Bond, so till Casino Royale. So hopefully they can repeat history and do that again, but we'll see. They've got to find someone really good who they think can be as good, if not better, than Craig. I mean, that's going to be a tough act to follow. Do you think the next film will have to live up to the action of a John Wick film? Possibly. Yeah, it depends if they want to go for a really gritty tone. If they want to go for a slightly more fun, fantastical tone, then the action doesn't need to be so heavy-handed. I mean, the action in Casino Royale was quite gritty. So, again, it just depends. But I would be up for seeing more brutal action sequences. I mean, you know, yeah, that's the thing. There's so many action franchises out there these days. Bond is almost having to compete with them, really, like Mission Impossible, John Wick, you know, various things. But Bond will always, I think it will always endure, but it's just now got more competition than what it used to when it was first established, when Sean Connery played the role. Do you expect the next film to be 2 to 3 years from now, or another fairly long gap? I don't mind. I would love to have a fun, fantastical Bond film, you know, but I feel like filmmaking nowadays requires, I mean, you know, there has to be emphasis on story and character. I think a blend of all those things would be perfect. And in terms of the gap, yeah, I think there is going to be a bit of a long gap. I don't think it'll be a 6-year gap like we had with Spectre and No Time to Die, but I think that they're going to need to give it a bit of time for Craig's Bond to, you know, for No Time to Die to kind of, you know, settle in with everybody. and next year, I think we'll find out who the next guy is. And I don't think we'll get the film until earliest 2024. I think 2024 or 2025 will be the release of Bond 26, whatever it may be. I mean, perhaps sooner if Cary Fukunaga decides to stay. I mean, he could direct the next one. Who knows? We could adapt some of the Fleming novels more properly. Yeah, I don't think they're going to remake any of the novels again. I think that would be kind of pointless. I don't want to see From Russia with Love again. I've got it. Sean Connery's in it, and it's fine. I mean, it's okay to reference them. I'm okay with them doing that, but I honestly think, okay, you can look at some of the notes and everything, and like with Risiko, Property of a Lady, something like short stories, and develop them into proper scripts. But, they've got to be great. They've got to be great. Craig's era gave us some of the best films of the series. Skyfall, Casino Royale, No Time to Die. They're all amazing. So how do you live up to that? That's the thing, especially Skyfall. Yeah. That's fine if you hated it. That if you hated the ending, that's perfectly fine, man. That's just your opinion. Favorite films of each Bond actor. We're not playing James Bond. I don't know. This isn't a Q&A, so I'm not really answering those type of questions. This is just like a discussion on the future of James Bond. I think Bond 26 should come out in July 2023. That's the earliest it could come out. I doubt it's going to come out then. I think if it's 2023, it'll be like No Time to Die. It'll be like an autumn release, like October, November. I think to be honest, I think it's going to be 2024. I think I'm betting it's going to be October, November 2024. That's my guess. But again, I could be wrong. Depends how quickly they get the ball rolling, because last I heard, Barbara was still in denial about Daniel Craig leaving. So, and we've obviously had the pandemic. So I would hope that they take that into consideration, the fact that we've had the pandemic and we've been waiting for No Time to Die for ages before we finally got it. So I think the plan, I would assume, is to let that sink in, and then in the new year, get started on 126. Thank you, Daniel. And lol, John Cleese. Well, I never hated John Cleese's Q. I just hated the movie. I just didn't like Die Another Day. Terrible film, unfortunately. Do you have a title in mind for 126? That's a good question, actually. I'll answer that. Everything or Nothing. Well, they've done that as a documentary. They've used it for a documentary, and they've done it for the game, so I wouldn't use that title. Risiko is a title I really like the sound of. Risiko would be a great title for a Bond film. So I hope they run with that at some point. And Property of a Lady. Those two I would love to see actually used in the official series. 007 in New York, not so much. Shatterhand, maybe, yeah. That was a rumored title for Bond 25. And then it was No Time to Die. So the title, to be honest, will probably not. What can I say? The title will probably be something out of left field. That's. I never expected the film to be called No Time to Die. And I didn't expect Bond 24 to be Spectre. So they've always surprised me with the titles. No one expected Skyfall either. So we'll see. Yeah, I agree with that, Craig. I think to be honest, I think even if I'd have hated the ending on initial viewing, I probably would have got over it when the new film comes out. Again, killing James Bond, it's not a decision everybody will sit well with. And I think they must have known that. They must have known that going in. Otherwise, they wouldn't have taken that decision. But they took a risk, and they thought, well, Craig's era, they can reboot it. They're going to reboot it after Craig. I think it makes sense, really, to reboot it after Craig, given the way No Time to Die ends and the amount of people that have died in Craig's era. It's fine. It's okay. I can live with it. But okay, some people can't. That's fine. That's their decision. But hopefully, some people will come around to even if they don't like the ending, they might at least just deal with it. But again, to each their own. Bond 26 may arrive before Indiana Jones 5. Yeah. Yeah, at this rate, it might well do. I mean, I don't give a shit about Indiana Jones 5. Yeah, Hans Zimmer's score. I liked Hans Zimmer's score for No Time to Die. I mean, I would be happy if he returned. I wouldn't mind that. But David Arnold's, if he came back to do another one, that would be great. Yeah, I mean, scoring a Bond film must be fun. I mean, because including the Bond theme throughout the score is great, and also trying to link in the song of that particular movie in the score is always nice. I think the only film that didn't do that was Quantum of Solace, as far as I'm aware. And License to Kill. I don't think License to Kill featured the song in the score, if you know what I mean. But yeah, should Universal work with MGM to make another Bond film? Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I don't mind. I mean, Universal, I felt they did a good job for No Time to Die. And I liked the opening where the Universal logo switched to the gun barrel. That was really cool. I don't mind. I'm open to it. I mean, I just hope Amazon don't go making all these spin-offs that we don't really need. I'm happy with the Bond series just to be a series of films, if people want to see a female Bond, just make your own film. I mean, if people wanted a Nomi spin-off, I'm sure that that would happen, and I'm sure Lashana Lynch would be up for it. And it would be a separate thing to the continuity of the new films. Of Bond 26. Yeah. Yeah, Daniel. Yeah, try and catch No Time to Die before it finishes. I mean, it's going to be out on Blu-ray in England in the 20th of December, and it's still playing in cinemas. And you can rent it on Sky Movies, which is amazing. They're obviously trying to get as much money out of it as they can, and they're trying to, I guess, recoup some losses during the pandemic. Yeah. Rise or Fall. That's actually quite a good title for Bond 26. I like that suggestion, Harry. Nice one. Who could pull off an old James Bond better, Brosnan or Dalton? When you say old James Bond, like an old man James Bond, I don't know. I mean, both of them are. I think maybe Dalton, because I think he threw himself into the action a bit more. Yeah. What James Bond film which Bond is a secondary character for a change? I suppose. I mean, I don't know if he's really a secondary character in The Spy Who Loved Me. I think it's like The Spy Who Loved Me. I haven't read the book, but from what I can gather, it's a dual protagonist story. So the story is shared. It's not like it's not like it's Anya's story. It's both of their stories. So something like that would be fine. I mean, they didn't quite do that with Nomi in No Time to Die. She was more of an ally, and they did team up at the end, which was always intended. But yeah, I wouldn't be against like a dual protagonist Bond movie if the female ally or whoever it is a good character. Essentially, I think the film should be about Bond because they're James Bond movies, so it wouldn't make sense otherwise. Oh, it's finished in the cinema where you are. Oh, fair enough. It's coming to the end of its run in the UK, but there's still a few cinemas showing it. It's obviously doing really well, which I'm happy about. Yeah, well, I first thought No Time to Die was going to come out in February on Blu-ray. That's what Amazon said, but then it's changed to December. So they're obviously trying to pump out the release of it a bit earlier, which is good. Yeah. But, I mean, in terms of what I want, I don't know. I don't know what sort of tone I'd want for the next film. I would like I said earlier, I would like the next film to sort of just be a more fantastical, fun ride with a good villain, a good story, like a solid script, maybe with a bit of emotional depth to Bond as a character, and depending on what the new actor brings to the role, just for us to get used to him, and then maybe if they wanted to do a story arc like Craig, then they could choose to do that with the subsequent films. And if they choose someone a bit younger, I'm going by the assumption that they'll want to have them continue for at least 4 or 5 movies, a bit like Craig. But, I mean, who knows? It depends how quickly they can make them. Hi, Sam. Yeah. Property of a Lady. Yeah, we were just talking about titles actually, Sam. Property of a Lady would be a great title to have. I wouldn't have minded if I mean that could have been a good title for No Time to Die. I mean, it could have referred to Matilde, you know. Yeah, but no, they called it No Time to Die, and that's fair enough. It's still a decent title. But Property of a Lady should definitely be used at some point. Like for me, it's that or Risico. Of the titles that are left, those are the two I would choose. But knowing them, knowing the producers, they'll probably choose something that's totally out of the blue. Devil May Care is another title that they could do. That's based on another novel, I think, which is supposed to be a sequel to The Man with the Golden Gun, I believe. I don't know if it's written by Fleming. Somebody wrote it, and yeah, that was a rumored title for Bond 24, but then it was Spectre, so it could be anything for all we know. Excuse me, sorry. Yeah, like what are your guys' predictions? Like, To Shoot a Spy, I think is a good title. Yeah, that's not a bad title. Yeah, I mean, there are so many options for Bond titles that we could have. I think I don't know half of it might just depend on the new actor, you know. And again, I don't think they're going to go for period set Bond movies. I think No Time to Die was so much about change in the ever changing world, and how the world has moved on since Bond became a 00. So I honestly think they'll keep it contemporary. They'll just find a current affair in our world to well, maybe the next Bond film will be about Brexit. God, that wouldn't be interesting. I mean, maybe that's it. Maybe Boris Johnson is the next Bond villain. Yeah. I mean, that's the thing, Sam. Yeah, because of technology, spies are becoming less useful. So it's like, how do you keep Bond relevant in this day and age? And I think that's why I love Spectre so much as a film, is because I think that it tells a great story, but it hammer homes the point about technology versus espionage. Which one is better, and also global surveillance, like people watching us. Like, I think it's a clever plot, and I think that it works because it says, what is the 00 program relevant anymore? The world is changing, and that's been a constant thing about Craig's era, I think, since Skyfall, at least. Yeah. It can't be about Brexit. Yeah, I was only joking. Yeah, I mean, Boris Johnson can't actually play himself, let alone act in anything. I mean, he can't string a sentence together, that man. I always describe Boris Johnson. He's a man that talks but doesn't say anything. He just dithers all the time. He goes, well, I stay at home, control the virus, protect the NHS, and save lives. Yeah, he's just an idiot. But to be fair, compared to Trump, he is the lesser of two evils. But that's not much of a compliment. Yeah, and I think that's the thing. Like, it is going to be harder for the Bond filmmakers to make the films relevant. Especially with not only the technology versus espionage thing, but other films, like we said earlier, the Mission Impossible films and all these other action films like John Wick. Like, in terms of an entertainment side of it, like, how does Bond continue to stand out? I mean, Bond will always stand out. It will always be there. It will endure, but you've got to keep it. I think you have to keep it contemporary at this point. Otherwise, people will be like, well, it's the same old thing we used to see in the 60s or 70s or 80s. So yeah, but it's like, Craig established quite a reinvention of the series, so they're going to have to do that again. I mean, given the way that No Time to Die ended, that's the only option. By necessity, they have to do it. The only other thing, I guess, for me to address is also the Mi6 Regulars. Will the Mi6 Regulars continue, or will they recast them? What do you guys think? Because I'm on the fence with this. I mean, I'd love to see them back. I'd love to see Rory Kinnear, Ralph Fiennes, Naomi Harris, Ben Whishaw. And Ben Whishaw himself says that he would do it if he was asked. But do you think they will chuck them out, or do you think they will keep them? Because remember when Judi Dench was in Die Another Day and then went to Casino Royale. Different timeline, same character. It actually worked really well. So, I don't know. I'm really on the fence, and especially because they killed James Bond in No Time to Die. Again, I did warn you about spoilers. Would people be able to accept the change in continuity? Like the casual viewers who probably don't know as much about reboots and continuities and all that kind of stuff, will they be irked if those people stay? I mean, I don't think Nomi would come back. I think they would leave Nomi, but I personally would love to see them come back. I think there's room for them to do more. I mean, they've been great in Skyfall, Spectre, and No Time to Die. So I don't know. I'm really on the fence as to whether they'll keep them. It also depends on whether they want to do it. That's another thing. Whether the director of the next film feels that we should get a complete clean slate with a new team. But yeah, I don't know. Dench is different because Bond never died. I don't think. Well, I don't think Bond dying is the issue, really, Sam. I don't think that's the. Yeah, it's the change in continuity. Like Bond dying is irrespective of that. Well, I personally think the Bond franchise died in Die Another Day. But what I mean is Brosnan's era ended in Die Another Day, and then a reboot happened. They kept Judi Dench. It was nothing. There was not a problem for me. I was fine with it. Again, I know James Bond was killed in No Time to Die, and they toasted him at the end. But I think if people were willing to accept, like the casual viewers, if they were willing to accept that this is a new Bond 26 is a new timeline, new film, has nothing to do with the Craig era. It's just the third timeline. Then those actors coming back shouldn't be an issue, really. They're all. I don't see it as an issue. I don't understand what the problem is. I think it would be fine having them back, and I think again you just have to accept that Bond 26 is a reboot. So and they want to keep the same actors. It's fine. Just accept that it's two different timelines. But if it really is that much of an issue, then they'll just recast. And I'll look. Equally, I wouldn't mind seeing who would play the roles. If they did recast, but I'm kind of on the fence with it. I don't really know how I feel about it. Part of me really wants to see them back, but part of me is like, maybe it's easier to cast new people, but I don't know. Yeah, well, Sam, that's what I've just said. If you can't accept it as a new continuity, I can understand, but I think most people would. I'm a fan of those actors, all of them who play those characters. Again, I don't think if any one of them wasn't to come back, it would be Nomi. But again, it's too early to say. But whatever. We'll see. I think people are going to be kind of, unsure about that. But yeah. But it would be interesting to see if they did recast them. Who would play? Like, who would you guys want to play M, Q, Moneypenny, Tanner? I have no clue. Who could be a good M? Or would they go back to a female M as well? That's another question. So are you saying then, Sam, that when the next film comes out, irrespective of the Mi6 Regulars, are you saying that, even if they changed the Mi6 Regulars, would you accept the new continuity there? Or are you saying just on the basis of if they kept the same Mi6 Regulars? GoldenEye and Die Another Day. Yeah, well, GoldenEye was far more entertaining than Die Another Day for me. Yeah, I understand, Sam. I understand you hate No Time to Die's ending. I get it. Yeah, I know that it's a controversial one. Some of the fans like me do like the ending and can accept it, but others can't. So again, whether the producers decide for the next film, there's probably going to be some backlash. I'd be surprised if there isn't. Actually, yeah, Gary Oldman's not a bad shout. That's a good idea. I would actually like Gary Oldman to be M. It's not a bad idea. Yeah, I don't know who could play Moneypenny. They go for. I don't think Naomi Harris is old, but maybe they'd go for someone a bit younger. I guess it depends on who plays Bond. Yeah, really. Sorry, do excuse me. Oh, yes. Well, I'm sure everybody was, Daniel. I'm sure everybody was. So, remind me, Daniel, were you okay with the ending, or were you upset? Like, were you disappointed by it, should I say? Yeah, I think, to be honest, eating my own scrotum would be better than watching Die Another Day. I exaggerate, but you know what I mean. I just personally think Die Another Day is the worst Bond film. Oh, okay. So you've sort of come around to it. Yes, I think it's going to be hard, but I think when the next film comes out, there is going to be a small amount of people that will probably, by that point, it would have been a few years and may have had time to get over No Time to Die's ending. But yeah, exactly. I took the same attitude as you. Seeing it as the next Bond is a new timeline, it didn't bother me. I thought, okay, it actually works, and it was very moving. I was proven wrong by the producers. I was against the death of James Bond, but yeah, when you think of Daniel Craig's era as its own series, it works. It's fine. Maggie Smith would be a good end, but I think she's probably a bit too old. It depends what they want to do with the character. I don't know. I think they'd cast someone younger than Maggie Smith. I'm glad you love it, Daniel. Is it your favorite Daniel Craig film? For me, it's not quite the favorite, but it is. I rank it third, so it's in the middle of his era for me. I prefer Skyfall. I prefer Skyfall and Casino Royale, but I take it over Spectre and Quantum of Solace. But that's just my opinion. Henry Cavill, yeah, maybe. He's been in the pipeline for quite some time. But he's Superman, so I doubt he's going to get it. All right, Sam, I was only joking. Oh, you like Spectre the best? Oh, cool. Excellent. Yeah, no, for me, Skyfall is Craig's best. But I actually really like Spectre. For those who don't know, I actually defend Spectre. I don't see why it gets so much hate. It's, I rank it fourth, but I still love it. I still think most of Craig's era is amazing. It's just Quantum of Solace that I have a lot of issues with, but I still enjoyed it, but it wasn't the best. But yeah, they've learned their lessons from Quantum of Solace. What's your take on the define age group of youngest to oldest to choose a new Bond? Okay, so the youngest I would accept is like 29, like late 20s, like 28, 29. If they were going to do like a Bond Origins again, where he becomes 007 over the course of the first film, that I could accept. The oldest, probably 10 years older, like late 30s, so like 38, 39. I think it's got to be between that age bracket. Otherwise, thinking about the actor who could do it and the actor who could last at least 4 or 5 movies, depending on how far they want to go. Yeah. Yeah, exactly, Daniel. I think an unknown actor is probably the best bet. A bit like Craig, he was relatively unknown. Oh, fair enough, Sam. Yeah, I think that most people will take that attitude. They'll just kind of, and at the end of the day, No Time to Die. That ending is, if you don't like it, you can always choose Spectre as the ending, because there is a sense of completion at the end of Spectre when he drives off with Madeline and Blofeld is put in prison. So, technically you can end the story there, so they give you the option at least. So I choose to see, if you choose to see it like that, it's not all bad. At least we rank it in the same place. Yeah, no, that's fine. No, Quantum of Solace is not looked upon very highly. I understand that. I don't think it's amazing, but I thought there were good parts to it. But it's definitely Craig's weakest film, easily. Yeah, I think that's one of the problems of Quantum of Solace, is that it is too short. It's hard. It almost moves at too brisk a pace. It needed more time to tell the story. But again, there's a good film in there. It's just rushed, so rushed. And the writer's strike, fucking hell, that was a problem. Yeah, I think Henry Cavill probably would have been a mixture. I think he would have been more kind of Dalton Craig. You know, I don't know. I think I could have seen maybe tougher vibes from him. I think he would have been a bit more serious. London's rebooting, blah blah blah. Yeah, the soundtrack to Quantum is good. Yeah, I like David Arnold's score. That's good. Oh, I don't really like the title song, Another Way to Die. that can go as far as I'm concerned. You think they'll keep the same Mi6 Regulars, Harry? Yeah, I mean, I'm kind of leaning on the side that I want them to stay, but at the same time, I'll understand if they recast them, but I don't want them to, you know. I mean, I love them so much. I love Ben Whishaw as Q. I love Naomi Harris. I love Ralph Fiennes as Mallory. Although they may not change it, they might change his name. He may not be Mallory. He may just be M in this, if they continue. And Bill Tanner, played by Rory Kinnear. They're all brilliant. You know, they're just so good. There's no doubt that they will obviously recast Blofeld and Felix in the future. If they do, I mean, they'll probably bring Felix back in the future. Don't know about Blofeld. I mean, they might leave Spectre out of the films for a bit, but I'm sure Spectre will come back to the films at some point. But not in this continuity. I wouldn't say it's the worst song ever, but it's down there as one of the weakest Bond themes. It was just trying too hard to be Chris Cornell's "You Know My Name" again. It's just not a James Bond song. It's not a bad song on its own, but as a Bond song, no. Fair enough. You can choose to see Skyfall as the ending, because actually, Skyfall brings the series sort of full circle anyway. So yeah, you could choose to see Craig's era as a trilogy, or even 2 movies if you don't want to include Quantum of Solace. Yeah, that's the one thing. Quantum of Solace. I mean, the Night at the Opera track is the best. That's just brilliant. Actually, most of the music in Craig's era is really good. Even the Hans Zimmer score. The track "Final Ascent." Oh, I keep listening to that. It's so good. It's beautiful. Well, I think it is anyway. I might be the only one that thinks that, but yeah. And in terms of Bond girls, like, who would you guys want to see play a Bond girl in the future? Obviously, depending on the age of Bond, who they cast, they'll obviously, if they go for someone who's like 29, 30, they'll obviously go for younger girls. Although, that being said, Ana de Armas is a bit younger than Craig, but they were just paired up to do some action. They weren't like sleeping together, so maybe they'll have a bit more promiscuity from Bond. But I still think the women should get more action-based roles as well. Like, keep it, you know, within the remits of this ever-changing world. That's fine. But maybe Bond will have a few more lustful dalliances, shall we say. Maybe he's not going to be tied down to anyone as much. You know, I don't think we're going to get another Vesper, Madeline, or Tracy story anytime soon. I think they'll just have Bond going around and be a bit sleazy again. I mean, who knows? Yeah. Yeah, I mean, the henchman could still be involved. And I really liked what they did with Primo, the guy with the eye, in No Time to Die, the bionic eye. That became a really big plot point, actually, for the film. And that was cleverly done. I'm still okay with the villains being sort of more outlandish and having, like, aspects. Like, Hinks had his nails, and like I said, Primo had his eye. And there's various things they could do in the future. Like, more Jawses and Odd Jobs would be welcome. Not to rip them off, but, you know, as in like villains who are quite silent but have a attribute that makes them, that kind of defines them in a way. Yeah, I'd like to see what they do with the henchmen in the future. Yeah, there's definitely loads of potential for that. And the villains, yeah. Hopefully they cast good villains. I mean, I wonder who could play the next Bond villain. I wonder. I'd like to have a female villain, actually. That would be nice to have more female villains in the future. Charlize Theron could play a good Bond villain. Yeah. Record for the most girls in one film is 4 in A View to a Kill. I suppose so, unless you want to count On Her Majesty's Secret Service with the girls in the clinic. But yeah, in terms of the girls, the sort of like the main ones, yeah, A View to a Kill probably is the one. I mean, I suppose you're including Moneypenny as well. Oh, like Naomi Harris. Oh, I like her. I think she's charming. I liked her chemistry with Craig. And I mean, that's the thing. Like, if they kept Naomi Harris, she'd have to flirt with the next Bond. So whoever that would be. I mean, if he's going to be younger, then maybe she might be a bit too old for him. I mean, it's not that Bond and Moneypenny would ever get together, but their relationship is quite flirtatious. And it did feel a bit uncomfortable in a way when Lazenby was flirting with Lois Maxwell, because he was quite a bit younger than her in the film Majesties. So it was kind of, I don't know if they could do that again, really. That might be a bit uncomfortable, but it depends on who the new actor is. Really, just once they cast a new actor, then they can kind of go from there and establish. I would love Adele to return to do a Bond song. Oh, yeah. I mean, there was rumors about it for No Time to Die, but actually, you know what? Billie Eilish blew me away with that song. I have to admit, I was really won over by that song, and it worked with those titles. I mean, I thought, oh, she's Billie Eilish. I mean, who's she? She's just this 18-year-old girl who I never heard of. And her music doesn't appeal to me. Still doesn't really, but the No Time to Die song, it's beautiful. I love it. It's not the best Bond song ever, but I really enjoy it. It works so well. But Skyfall is the best Bond song for me. Yeah, I don't think we're going to get a Bond love story again for quite a while. If they do it again, it won't be for quite a while. So, yeah. Oh, yeah, no, I'm not saying that they would ever bring Jaws back again, but like in terms of villains like Jaws who have like an attribute that makes them distinctive, that would be exciting, but not actually Jaws himself. I mean, he came back for a second film, and that was enough. Yeah, Idris Elba could play villain. That's yeah, I agree with that. I said that a while ago as well when he was rumored. I thought I'd rather see him play a villain than play Bond, and why not? He would be amazing. Yes, Kate Blanchett, another good choice. She's really good. She's a bit too old to be a Bond girl, but a villain, yeah, we need a female Bond villain actually. Oh yeah, no, Lois Maxwell is definitely the best Moneypenny for sure. I'm not disputing that, but I do love Naomi Harris. She would be my second favorite, I would say. And she's such a lovely lady in real life. Like when you see her in interviews, she's just a gorgeous woman. She really is, and she speaks very highly of the Bond films that she's in. So that's really lovely of her. Yeah, Charlize Theron. I'm glad we agree about that. And well, I think Sam Smith has had his go at a Bond theme, Writings on the Wall. I actually like Writings on the Wall. I think it's good. It's not amazing, but it's good. It works for Spectre. Yeah, no, I mean, fair enough if you don't think it's amazing, but yeah, I really like it. I love the orchestration. It's just haunting. It's just so beautiful. That No Time to Die song. And again, it works so well with those titles. I preferred it to Writings on the Wall, actually. Yes, I mean, someone suggested Gary Oldman to be M. But he could also be a villain. Like there's various, potential for various actors to come into the series who haven't been there yet. I think the producers might look at who's won Oscars recently, like because they did that with Rami Malek, and they got him to play Lucifer Safin in the new film. So maybe they'll do that again. They'll look at the actors who are high on the list for the Academy. Michael Fassbender would be quite a good villain. I don't think he'll play Bond. I think because he's too established, and He's played Magneto in the X-Men films. But, you know, he could be a villain. And actually, his wife, Alicia Vikander, would be a great Bond girl. I mean, because I'm kind of saying that because I have a crush on her, you know, why not? Jean Reno would be good, yeah. Yeah, nice to have a French Bond villain. Like, we haven't had a French Bond villain for ages, since I think Knick Knack, although he's a henchman, but still. Yeah. Yeah, Lois Maxwell was the definitive one. I personally feel Caroline Bliss is the weakest Moneypenny. She's just, it's not her fault. She just doesn't really get a lot to do, and she has awkward chemistry with Dalton. I mean, I think she has like one scene with him, and that's it. Across the two films, she has one scene. And then Samantha Bond is decent, but again, the dialogue in the Brosnan films was not particularly good. Yeah. I don't have much else to really say on this matter, but if anyone else wants to comment in the chat about something, then we can do. Yeah, Daniel Craig is out. He is now done. He's handed up his Wolford PPK, and God, it's sad to see him go. Really, it really is. But obviously, he's reached the point where he feels he should stop. And it probably is the right time to stop. I mean, he's been in the role since 2006. That's quite a long time, especially with the gaps between the films. And I mean, he looks good for his age. Don't get me wrong, and he's still physically prime. But yeah, all the injuries, I guess I kind of assign to him that it's not gonna last forever. But it's a fantastic role to play. I mean, not everyone gets to play James Bond, and I think he's genuinely happy that he's done it. I think at the end of Spectre, he just sort of, I guess he maybe was a bit depressed. He just kind of had a lot of struggles with that one. But making No Time to Die was obviously a lot more fun, and you can see that in his performance in the movie. Yeah, so we're gonna miss him, but we've got 5 movies from him in the franchise, and yeah, I look forward to marathoning his era again. Oh yeah, Louis Jourdan, I forgot about him. Yes, come on, Khan. Yeah, he was French. Yeah. Oh, he was a great villain. He was really good. He was one of the highlights of Octopussy, actually. Yeah, Caroline Bliss. Shame. Beautiful lady, but the worst Moneypenny. Just got nothing to do. James Norton. I've not seen much of his work, but I've heard the name. He's been rumored for quite a while. I don't think Hugh Jackman would ever play James Bond. I mean, he's played Wolverine, for God's sake. As a villain, potentially, or a villain henchman. I think more as a main villain because of his size. I mean, look at the guy. He's built like an ox. He's so ripped. So I think he would be physically quite a good adversary. But he could also play a henchman. I think it's either a villain or a henchman, one of those things. I mean, he is a terrific actor. So, I mean, Hugh Jackman is pretty good in everything he's been in so far. I've not seen him give a bad performance. So, a very down-to-earth guy as well. So, yeah, I would be up for him in a Bond film. But not as Bond himself. He's too old to play Bond, Yes, Ewan Mcgregor would be a good Bond villain. He was the villain in Birds of Prey. He was actually pretty good. He did an American accent, and I think he pulled it off. Yeah, Kamal Khan's a good one. I will do a top 10 best Bond villains at some point. He might be on there, maybe. He's certainly a lot better than Christatos was. Sorry, Sam. Benedict Cumberbatch is cute. I don't think Benedict Cumberbatch will ever get involved in the Bond series now because he's in Marvel. He's too well established, but maybe. And Benedict Cumberbatch is a good actor. I don't deny that. Yeah. No, don't worry, Sam. I don't think Hugh Jackman's going to get Bond. He's too old. He's in his 50s, like Craig. So, they're going to want someone younger. And again, he's probably, he's. What can I say? He's played Wolverine, and again, he's the same age as Daniel Craig, so he wouldn't get enough films. Oh, hi, Nick. Yeah, I kind of already answered this question, but I'll say it again for you. For me, no younger than 28, 29, and no older than 38, 39. I think to start with, that an age between there in that range would probably be best because the role's physically demanding and they'll want someone who's likely to continue it for a good at least 4 or 5 movies, like Craig. It depends how popular they are, I suppose. Yeah, Michael Fassbender possibly, but again, he's been in X-Men, so I don't think he would get it on that basis. Yeah, David Suchet would be a good Bond villain. He would be. I think he would actually be quite a good villain. But I'm sure there's still like Fleming material that they can go from. I know all the books have been adapted, and some of the short stories have been adapted, and they've still got notes they can look under. But again, I mean, Quantum of Solace was just like written as notes, like there were notes about it that Fleming wrote, but they just basically wrote their own story or tried to. Yeah, he's Australian as well, not another laserman. Yeah, well, the thing is, like, it doesn't matter where the actor is from. If they can do an accent, then that's fine. I mean, if the actor is English, that's obviously helpful. But if they're not, as long as they can do a convincing English accent, then I'm okay with that. That would be all right. It just depends. I wonder what the plot would be for the next one. That's the thing. Like in terms of, what's the biggest global threat in this world? I mean, obviously we've had the COVID virus, which in a way it's quite fortuitous. Like No Time to Die, it's sort of been quite fortuitous with the plot, and linking in with COVID in a way, subconsciously it does kind of reflect the pandemic that we've been going through. Obviously, this is on a different scale to that, but still about a virus. So yeah, so I don't know, like, what could the potential plot be for Bond 26? That's what I want to know. Yeah. Yeah, you've missed some of the earlier discussion, Nick, but we have mentioned some of this already, but we can retread it. Yeah, Property of a Lady and Risico, those titles I would love to see used. Those would be like Risico especially, but Property of a Lady, those two need to be used at some point. They have to be. Christian Bale, as long as he doesn't rant on set about the lights again. Bond is framed, has to prove his innocence. Oh yeah, that's a good idea. Yeah, I don't know if they've done that before. I mean, they've done. I mean, A View to a Kill might be the closest thing where they thought that he killed Hal in the City Hall or wherever it was. But this sort of maybe like Bond is like put on trial for murder or something. Although he has a license to kill, so maybe that wouldn't make sense. But yeah, maybe he's framed for something he didn't do, and he's on the run. He's falsely imprisoned, doesn't? I don't know. Like they can go somewhere with it. I wonder if the plot will have anything to do with technology. I do wonder about that. Anthony Hopkins needs to be in a Bond film. I don't know why they haven't got him in it yet. Yeah. I don't see, but Sam, I don't see the problem if the actor can do an accent. There are actors that can do really good English accents. What does it matter if their heritage is different? As long as they appear to be English on screen, that's enough for me. But okay, if it's not enough for you, fair enough. Well, the thing is, Dinobot, as I just said, I think that No Time to Die has subconsciously referenced COVID when the entire plot is about a virus. So, I mean, to be honest, I don't think they will reference the pandemic. Everyone's sick of the pandemic. Everyone's sick of COVID, and the virus in No Time to Die is called Heracles, and it's the center of the plot. So I think people are probably sick and tired of viruses. So I don't think they will reference it. I think they will ignore it personally. Yeah, Michael Keaton. That's a good one, Sam. Yeah, I think he would be really good. There's so many actors they could use. Even Leo DiCaprio would be quite a good Bond villain, actually. Yeah, well, Bond was only Scottish because Yeah, because when Sean Connery was cast, the origins were sort of rewritten because Fleming was actually very impressed by Sean Connery's performance as James Bond. So, yeah. Maybe, yeah. America, I'm sure there's some glamorous locations in America. It would be nice to maybe see a bit more of America in the Bond film. Could be an option, especially if Felix is going to come back in the series. Obviously, it won't be Jeffrey Wright's Felix, but a new actor playing Felix. No, you don't have to apologize, Sam. It's fine. I mean, I personally don't agree. I mean, I personally just feel like it shouldn't matter where the actor's from. If they appear British on screen, then it's fine. But I mean, because we've had George Lazenby, even Timothy Dalton was Welsh. Pierce Brosnan being Irish, Connery was Scottish. So only 2 of the 6 Bonds have been English. So yeah, but anyway, never mind. Yeah. Yeah, that's the one great shame about No Time to Die is that in the credits they didn't get the chance to dedicate the film to Sean Connery. And they could have done something for Roger Moore. I know the film was released a few years after his passing, but still, would have been nice to think they could have put a message in there somewhere. But don't worry. Anyway, with my Bond film that I'm going to make, that I'm making, I'm going to dedicate it to Connery and Moore. So I'll do that, as No Time to Die didn't do it. Yeah, well, I mean, Leo DiCaprio is a really good actor. I think he's actually gotten better over the years. I mean, he started out with doing Titanic, and then he's gotten better since then, I think. Yeah, Australia. That's not bad. Maybe they get George Lazenby in for a cameo again. But yeah, Canada. It could be a good location. Actually, which locations would you like to see? That's a good question. I'd quite like to go somewhere we haven't been, obviously depending on the COVID restrictions. Not quite sure if all the countries are on the green list yet, but I think the Bond series has been to most places. Obviously, God, don't go to Zimbabwe. That's a death trap. But yeah. Maybe just for a change, they'll go to Wales. I've never been there before. Cardiff. Maybe he'll run into the doctor. That's the thing. I don't know what the next global sort of stakes plot they could do for the series. It depends what the plot is. We've done the kind of technology thing with Spectre. We did the personal thing with Silver. The Schiffer was part of Spectre. Green was part of Spectre. Lucifer Safin had the virus, Heracles, which he was going to distribute, and then he also had personal goals. So whether it's just someone who's a terrorist, or I don't know, or maybe it's maybe someone who's conning people or something, like a dodgy banker or something. I don't know. It's unless they choose Boris Johnson. And actually do go with the Brexit idea. Oh, New Zealand. Yeah, New Zealand or Dubai. Those would be great. I think Dubai is more likely because it's more exotic. New Zealand is a great location, but obviously it doesn't really lend itself to a Bond film, unless Bond was stranded on the cliffs. That's the thing, though. That's an idea I'd quite like to see. If I were to make a Bond film for the official series, I'd like to see how they would cope with Bond being stranded on an island for the majority of the film, to see how he would cope on, without the gadgets and without everything he's used to. But yeah, I mean, that probably would never happen. Canary Islands is a good option. Short stories were sewn into films already. For Your Eyes Only and Risico make up the plot to that film. Yeah, I mean, they can still use the title Risico and create a different plot. Yeah, who knows? James meets someone who doesn't pay their TV license, but there's a yeah, maybe. Plot about poisoning the water supply, maybe. Well, they kind of did the water supply thing with Quantum of Solace. Dominic Green wanted to steal the water supply. And then we've had the virus plot, like Safin and his poison garden in No Time to Die. So I guess that sounds like an amalgamation of the two, but maybe. Most of the plots have been done. Yeah. How does it? Yeah, they're going to have to think long and hard about reinventing this. I've got no clue what they're going to do. Bond in Antarctica, yes, that would be cool. Like, how would Bond cope in that environment? God, doesn't bear thinking about. Yeah. Oh, New Zealand is amazing. I mean, if you watch Lord of the Rings, The Hobbit, you'll see the locations on screen. It's just wow. Yeah, and actually, they could call the Bond film Stranded. You know, well, I don't know. It might be a little bit too plain. How long between each film? Are you asking me how long do I think it should be between each film? If so, I'd say about 3 years. I don't know. I mean, I think, well, after No Time to Die, I don't think we're going to get the next film till at the earliest 2024, maybe even 2025. That's just my prediction. Oh yeah, that's true. Yeah, UK citizens could potentially go and live in New Zealand. Yay! I'd love to meet Peter Jackson. You know, my favorite film director from New Zealand. I would love to go. I'd love to go to the set of The Hobbit and Lord of the Rings. Like, you can go to the Shire in the Green Dragon Park. I'd love to just visit the locations where they where they shot the trilogy. Well, actually, all 6 movies, because there's The Hobbit as well. A murder mystery Bond film would be nice. Yeah, actually, that's a potential thing they could do. Murder mystery. Yeah. But who's murdered? Yeah, good work. I'm glad Bond went to the capital city. Oh, are you from Russia? Oh, that's very nice. From Russia with love. Oh, is it, who do you want to do the next song? That's another question. For me, I would be open to Adele coming back. But if it was anyone new, I mean, I'd love Michael Bublé to do a Bond song. I've always wanted him to do a Bond song. But in terms of anyone else that's kind of current, I don't know. I mean, Billie Eilish was a total needle in the haystack. Never expected it to be her. But I thought what she produced was beautiful. Malta is a good location, yeah. Is that in Italy? We've had Italy quite a lot during the Craig era, so I think we should leave Italy for a moment. No disrespect to the Italians, of course. Excuse me. Oh. Peru. Yeah, not bad. Not bad. And of course, there's London. I mean, London is a given, for the Mi6 scenes, of course. Yeah. Well, I think it would have to be Bond foes, like plural. It would have to be 4 villains, or 4 henchmen maybe that work for the villain. Something like that. Otherwise, it doesn't really count. Shirley, oh God, man, that would be amazing. I think she's a bit too old now, isn't she, to do it? Oh, well, yeah. Never say never. It would be amazing to have her back. Then she's done 3 already, though. That's the thing. Yeah, Tom Jones is, I don't think his voice is quite as powerful as it used to be, but I would be open to having him back. But I think they're likely to go with somebody more current, to be honest. Someone who's, how can I put it, down with the kids, because I want to attract they always want to attract a new audience for a Bond film. Oh, Malta. Oh, okay. Fair enough. I'm no good at geography. I wouldn't know. Oh, okay. So, like 4 main antagonists. Oh, yeah. Bond in Panama. Yeah, that's a good suggestion, actually, Daniel. That's a really good one. Yeah, I can imagine some of the action sequences being shot there. Oh, you're Croatian. Oh, okay. Sorry. Yeah, again, I'm no good at geography, so please forgive me. Again, Nick, we did mention some of this earlier, but I can reiterate. That's fine. I don't know. I mean, I would be open to Martin Campbell returning, but could third time be a charm? Could he do it a third time? Could he reinvent Bond for a third time? Although I don't know if he really reinvented it with GoldenEye. I think he brought GoldenEye back to basics, but he kept the sort of fairly serious tone of the Cold War. But Casino Royale is definitely a reinvention reboot, and it's definitely designed that way. It depends. Yeah, I mean, if he does come back, I'd love to see what he does, but whether it would work, don't know. Yeah. Well, I always thought that Judi Dench's M was the same M, just in a different timeline. But I guess you can choose to see it that way. That's totally fine. Yeah. I don't know who Joss Ackland is. Sorry. Yeah, actually, that's a good idea, Sam. What about if they had like a couple as a villain? Have like a man and a woman, like a husband and wife. That would be cool. We've never had that before. The closest we ever got to that was Renard and Electra, but less said about that, the better. Best director you think to choose for writing, then best one to choose for action? Good question. I thought Cary Fukunaga did a good job with the action with No Time to Die, so he could probably stay and do that. Martin Campbell, maybe, I suppose, for the story. I mean, yeah, Sam Mendes is also very good for story, but I don't think he would ever come back. Yes, maybe Martin Campbell and Cary Fukunaga. No, don't know. Unless they get a new director who's never directed Bond before. Yeah. Actually, yeah. Christopher Nolan has been in the pipeline for a while to direct. So maybe. He's always said he wanted to. I mean, basically, Tenet is his answer to Doctor Who and James Bond. Matt Reeves would be an incredible director for James Bond. He would definitely create a very dramatic story and a great script. I think he's got the potential. I mean, his Planet of the Apes movies are amazing. And his Batman film looks really good. So, yeah. Yeah, Spielberg for Bond, though. I don't know if Spielberg could do a great Bond movie. Some of Spielberg's recent films haven't been the best, so I don't know. If the next Bond actor makes only 3 films, then Ewan served all the numbers. Lazenby 1, Dalton 2, 3 for the new guy, Brosnan 4, Craig 5, Connery 6, Moore 7. Yeah, I like the fact that all the actors have had a different number of films. It actually adds a nice variety to the series, but maybe the next actor will break the curse, unless he does 3, or unless he does 8. But I don't know if he's going to do 8 films. I can't see that happening. I don't think anyone will succeed Roger Moore, to be perfectly honest. But so yeah, I think the next guy should get at least 3 films, and if he hasn't made as good an impression as Craig by then, maybe he'll step down after his 3rd. But we'll see. Yeah. If there was a set of James Bond taking on the main villains, 2 male, 2 female. Yeah, I think 2 male, 2 female. It's a nice balance. Yeah. Yeah, Quentin Tarantino's Bond film would be be a bit violent, but it would be a bit bloody, but yeah, it would be fun, I suppose. It would be. I think he'd definitely want to direct a sort of more fantastical, outlandish Bond film. I mean, they may have to ask him to strip back some of the blood and the violence for the general audience, but yeah. I mean, he would make the film quite long. That's probably the only downside. He probably would make a nearly 3-hour Bond film, but then No Time to Die was nearly 3 hours, and that worked for me. So it's doable. Yeah. No, I know, Sam. But I was just saying, I also would quite like to see if it was like a power couple working together, but also 2 rivals could be good. Yeah, Scorsese. Yeah, he has potential to make a great Bond film. Think of a suspenseful near death or losing to the villain scene to top any of the previous films. Just to come up with one, that would be difficult. I might have to come back to you on that because I can't think of anything. Yeah, no. Spielberg does have a range. He's made some excellent films in the past. I just don't know if he can make. I mean, maybe he could make James Bond. He could probably do a fun movie, but I just worry Spielberg's getting on a bit. Yeah, we'll see. We'll see. Oh, excuse me. I've got the sniffles. Yeah, God. I mean, Hitchcock had some very interesting filmmaking techniques. Yeah, God. Don't know how the Bond films would have coped with the filming if he was there directing. Well, the actors certainly would have struggled. Yeah. Probably go for another few more minutes, and then I might call it a night. Oh, I didn't know that Anthony Hopkins. I didn't know that Anthony Hopkins, spent one day on Tomorrow Never Dies. Presuming they were going to cast him as the villain, Elliot Carver. Well, oh well, he walked away. Some people do that. It's unfortunate. It's unfortunate, but Jonathan Pryce is a good actor, so I guess he he enjoyed himself clearly. Denis Villeneuve, yeah. Oh God, he can make a beautiful looking film. He can make some visually stunning films. I mean, Dune, wow, that looks so good. And Blade Runner 2049. His films are quite long, but there's potential to make a good one film. If he could handle the action sequences, then I reckon he could do a pretty great film. I would actually, I'd agree with that, Dinobot. Yeah, Daniel Craig's 5 movies as a series, I would consider to be, probably the best reboot in film history, or one of the best. Certainly up there with the Planet of the Apes trilogy as well. Right. Okay. James Cameron. Yeah, lol. James Cameron is making like 4 or 5 Avatar sequels. So, yeah. But James Cameron's very talented. He could do it. Although he's not the best screenwriter. You'd have to get someone else to write his movies. But his dialogue is quite cheesy. But what a talent, though. I mean, The Abyss is amazing. A lot of his movies do have the wow factor about them. But they're not always perfect. I mean, Titanic is, I think, a little bit overrated. I mean, it won 11 Oscars. Good for them. But and Avatar is not perfect either. But the best James Cameron film is, for me, the first Terminator. A really, really good one. The second one is also really good. Aliens is also great. Yeah, he's a great director. I think I can see what you mean about the Hitchcock kind of vibe. Yeah, James McAvoy can pretty much play anything. I mean, he's so versatile, and he's a very good actor. One of the best actors in the film. I think it was Glass or Split, or I can't remember what it was called, but yeah, he plays a character who has like 25 different personalities. It's crazy. Bond, I see you. Well, I think I'm going to probably call it there, guys. There's not much more I can say about this subject. But yeah, I think it's going to be an interesting future for the Bond franchise. And obviously, everybody has their differences on No Time to Die. I will certainly be buying the film when it comes out. But I think it's going to be a few years, or it's going to be a while before we hear any big news about the new actor. And I think that the films, the tone of the films, again, could potentially change. Then there's various directions that it could go in. and Barbara and Michael will definitely have to do a lot of thinking to keep this franchise going, and I'm sure they will. And I know the ending of No Time to Die has rocked certain people. Sometimes, well, for some people it's rubbed them the wrong way, others it hasn't. You make your own mind up about that. I personally love the film, and I am okay with the ending. I'm also excited for the future. I mean, Daniel Craig is my favorite Bond, and I'm sad to see him go. But at the same time, I respect his decision to leave, and I think it was the right time for him to go. And he accomplished a lot in his 5 films. But yeah, thanks very much to everybody in the live chat as well for the comments. And I really appreciate the discussion. It's been really great to hear your opinions. And if you aren't watching this live, also thank you very much as well. And please leave your comments down below. Let me know what you think about this and what is your opinion on the future of James Bond after No Time to Die. So yeah, thank you. Thank you very much. And yes, as you said, Nick, we have 25 Bond films to watch and enjoy once we add No Time to Die to the collection. Yeah, never have I actually done a Bond marathon of all the films. Maybe over Christmas I'll do that. When I get No Time to Die on Blu-ray, I think I might do that. I might marathon all 25 films. That's something I've never done, so it'll be interesting. Or I'll do it next year for the 60th anniversary. I might do that. That should be fun. But anyway, thank you very much. And yeah, again, please leave a comment down below. Let me know what you think. Please like and hit the subscribe button to see more content like this. And until next time, I'm Mr. Tarlos11. Thank you for watching. See ya. Bye for now.